Hey guys, it's Sasha with Rice and Raw, and I've gotten a lot of questions about how to get your boyfriend to go vegan, and a few questions about how to handle when your boyfriend is not 80-10-10 or is not vegan. So my boyfriend is mostly vegan. He does his very best. Every once in a while he might have a bit of meat. He's not super religious with it, but he does try, and he's transitioning over, and it is a transition period, and there's no shame in taking your time as long as your intentions are good and you want it to stick for the rest of your life. So brief history with my boyfriend and I, how he has decided to go vegan is about a year and 2 months ago we started hanging out again, and hello, yes, we've been on and off for like 3 years. So when we started hanging out is when I actually just started to go vegan. I was still transitioning over. I still maybe would have a bit of cheese. I wasn't, perfect at all yet. And so he saw me from my eating disorder. I was 30 pounds heavier. And so he saw me slowly just transform into what I am now. And he saw this just increase in health, this increase in happiness. Yes. He firsthand saw what veganism can do. It took him about half a year to really be more interested in maybe him going vegan. So one day, I made a bet with him, and if he lost the bet, he would have to watch Forks Over Knives with me. And of course, he lost the bet. And after he watched the movie, he was like, I have to go vegan. All of a sudden, he wanted to go vegan. He learned the science behind why going vegan is important. Well, some of the science at least. And that is what really spoke to him, is fact-based evidence and not any emotional attachment to trying to get someone to go vegan. So that's why Forks Over Knives is so great to show non-vegans, because they don't even use the word vegan. They use plant-based diet, which is not as intimidating. And they just present information kind of in a way where if you want to take it, you can. If you don't, well, that's up to you as well. So after that, he definitely started to try to go vegan. Milk and cheese was never really a problem. He's never really been too into cheese. But of course, the meat was a bit more of a problem. And since he works out at the gym, he's pretty into protein. He was still having his protein powders. He also relied a lot on Ensures to get in his calories for the day. To replace the Ensures, I suggested that I make smoothies for him in the morning of bananas, and Joe bought some, I'm sorry about her, just gonna remove her from that. And he bought some raw vegan hemp powder, which actually is really delicious. I've tried some. So I make him those smoothies in the morning. I try to get over 1,000 calories for his smoothies. He needs a lot more calories than I do. Especially if he's going to go 80-10-10. Now, he is not 80-10-10, and he has no plans to really in the future. He kind of eats 80-10-10 in a way, in the macros way at least, maybe more like 60-20-20, but it's pretty close. He does focus on the carbs. He focuses on starch and fruit, which is really important, especially when you're going vegan, because you're taking out all of these dense nutrient sources, these dense calorie sources, and if you don't replace them with something, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice and you're not going to stay vegan. Hello, baby. You're not going to stay vegan because you're not going to have enough food, enough energy to sustain it. So he understands the importance of getting in those carbs, and him and I don't do any cardio. We do no cardio, and yet we're pretty thin people. I mean, we don't have much body fat on us at all. I've gotten a question on how is it that you stay 80-10-10 when your boyfriend's not 80-10-10? Because he'll order food, he'll eat more high fat foods, and my response is that I just need to carb up. I know what I want to do. I know how I feel at my best, and I know that just having smoothies, having a lot of fruit, having some veggies and starches is when I feel my best. And I don't crave any other food other than what I've been eating for the past half a year or more, because I've been staying so carbed up, which is really, really important. It's getting enough carbs. Right, Clee? So the best way to approach your guy about going vegan is to use fact-based evidence. Don't try to appeal to his emotional side. Show him the movie Forks Over Knives. Even if you have to make bets with him, just get him to watch this movie. And I've heard from other people too that their boyfriends have been so inspired by this movie after watching it and they want to go vegan too. Also, a really great way to get anyone to go vegan is to be vegan yourself and just be that example of health, of happiness. Leading by example is key because people will ask, what are you doing differently? What are you doing right now? Because I want to emulate this. I also make sure that other food is on hand. I always try to make sure that there is rice ready and waiting in the fridge because guys usually, like my boyfriend, do not want to cook. They don't want to deal with making food, especially if they're hungry. They just got out of work. They just got back from their workout. They just don't feel like making food. It's really helpful just to have really easy, quick things on hand. And I also, just for vegan purposes, I have these Tasty Bite little pouches from, you can get them, I've seen them at Walmart, I've seen them at Whole Foods. Go to Walmart because they're only $2.50 at Walmart. They're like $3.50 to $4 at Whole Foods and Stop and Shop. And they're these little pouches, little microwavable pouches where I just put them in his lunchbox on his way to work. He can just have them when he gets home. And they're these Indian side dishes like chickpeas, lentils, and in curries, and they'll say vegan on the back. There are some vegetarian options, so do avoid those. But I have those on hand all the time. He's probably pretty sick of them by now, but they're always there just to add in those extra calories for him. And he has them with rice, so he's getting in his carbs too. And they're pretty low in fat. They're not too bad. They're okay in salt content. They're not too high at all. And also Amy's frozen vegan meals are really helpful. I have them in the fridge. I've even had one of them before. Some of them do have seitan in them. Some of them are just plain noodles with vegetables, that kind of stuff. Joe has also found that since he goes out to eat a lot, just to pick up food real quick, that Chipotle is a really great place to go. He can get vegan stuff at Chipotle. And he also goes to Subway where he gets a veggie sandwich. And then he'll come back and I think it's called Garradine is the brand of seitan chicken nuggets. So he'll heat those up and put them in the sandwich. And he really enjoys that as well. And he'll also get eggplant parm subs without the cheese. Also, Annie's soups are pretty good, especially if you get the low sodium ones. And bread, I've been eating bread like crazy recently. I don't know why. Gluten doesn't really have, I don't really have an issue with digesting gluten. So I personally don't see the need to kick gluten out of my diet. I don't feel any different if I'm having gluten or not. So don't forget to be that shining, beautiful, energetic example of veganism, and people will want to do the same, especially when it starts to make sense scientifically, when they see the evidence presented to them. You really can't deny it. Also, if your boyfriend is very, very against going vegan, you really can see this from two lights. A lot of people would say if he has no heart in his body to even care about the animals, or if he is just so stubborn that he can't see the science that shows that veganism is so good for you. If you can't see this, then he probably just isn't the right guy for you. And I know this sounds terrible, but I mean, do you really want to be dating someone who is just that terrified of opening their minds up? You want your partner to be on the same level as you. You want your partner to want to experience life just as much as you do. And if they're blocking this out, they're scared, they don't want to deal with it, and they are comfortable in their comfort zone. And that may translate into other aspects later down the road, being in their comfort zone, not wanting to do other things. You can also look at it from another perspective, in that he is his own person and he may get there in time, because it's not going to be right away. Like, this took my boyfriend like a year to really get down, to really start to care about veganism. and to really start to experience veganism, have his slip-ups, because you know slip-ups are going to happen, and then realize that he does want to stay vegan. So give your boyfriend that time, because it took Joe a year. It might take your boyfriend just a month. It might take your boyfriend 5 years. But just keep being that beautiful, shining example of a vegan, of an 80-10-10 vegan. And if you aren't 80-10-10, check it out, that you will just feel that much better eating 80-10-10. My boyfriend asked me the other day, he's like, is eating fully raw the absolute best way to eat? How much healthier is that from going vegan? So I explained it to him in a way where it was almost like a giant step, a smaller step, and the smallest step, which is veganism for your health is just so much health benefits just going vegan. And then going 80-10-10 would just be, you know, a pretty good amount of health increase. And I'm talking about cooked 80-10-10 as well. And then if you're going to go fully raw 80-10-10, then you're going to, you know, increase it a good amount, but it's not going to be as vast as if you were from a standard American diet to veganism, because that is going to just like boost your health so much. That is so crucial to go vegan for your health and of course for the planet, for the animals. But that is where you're going to see the most health benefit, in my opinion. So I hope this video helps you guys out, and I will see you later.